Previously, as Jinwoo defeated the Ant King, the ant monster scattered, fleeing the nest in chaos. But Hunter Cha was still in critical condition. Jinwoo quickly checked on her and pulled out the holy water of life, hoping the potion would heal her. However, a system notification informed him that the drug didn't apply to her condition, rendering it ineffective. The potion was useless, and Shadow Exchange was still on cooldown. Jinwoo muttered to himself, "There has to be a way," as he watched Heian's fading condition. Suddenly, a thought struck him. He turned to the cameraman and ordered him to turn off the camera for a moment. The cameraman, confused, asked, "Pardon?" But Jinwoo repeated his order, threatening to smash the camera into pieces if he didn't comply. Now nervous, the cameraman agreed and turned off the camera. Jinwoo then instructed all his shadows to find Byung-goo's body. Yoon-ho, startled, asked, "Is he going to?" An orc guard soon found Byung-goo's body and carried it back. Upon seeing the body, Jinwoo realized that the ants had chewed through it. He wondered if what he was about to do would work. Yoon-ho, confused, asked Jinwoo what his plan was. At that moment, a notification popped up on Jinwoo's system. Shadow extraction could be used on Byung-goo's body. He spoke the word, "arise," and black shadows enveloped Byung-goo's body. However, a message appeared on his system. Shadow extraction failed. Jinwoo, in disbelief, muttered, "No way!" He tried again, speaking the word "arise," but once again, the system informed him that the extraction had failed. Jinwoo believed that Byung-goo may have thought it immoral to turn a human into one. Iron, who stood nearby, watched the situation unfold in confusion. Jinwoo, however, was focused on saving the one life still remaining. His eyes turned to Hye-in. On his final attempt, Jinwoo once again said, "Arise." This time, the shadows enveloped Byung-goo's body successfully. Yoon-ho grabbed Jinwoo's shoulder in shock and asked, "What did you do to Byung-goo?" His voice was filled with disbelief. He added, "Do you have the power to command the dead?" At last, Jinwoo's third attempt was successful. Byung-goo's hand emerged from the ground as the shadows solidified around him. Byung-goo, now a shadow, standing tall beside Jinwoo. Jinwoo had successfully extracted Byung-goo's body. Jong-in questioned Jinwoo, wondering if he truly had the power to harness the dead. Dong-wook added that Jinwoo was certainly not an ordinary summoner. Suddenly, Byung-goo's shadow began to move and approached Hye-in, casting a healing spell on her. Yoon-ho, witnessing this, asked, "Is Byung-goo healing Hye-in?" He placed a hand on Jinwoo's shoulder, prompting Jinwoo to explain that he could tell what kind of person Byung-goo was. He hadn't given any orders, yet Byung-goo had instinctively healed Hye-in. Jinwoo believed Byung-goo had a warm heart, while Byung-goo's shadow was seen smiling. Yoon-ho closed his eyes and commented that the shadow was no longer truly Byung-goo. Jinwoo agreed with him. The cameraman, observing Jinwoo's summoning abilities, was speechless. Realizing why Jinwoo had ordered him to turn off the camera, he understood. The public couldn't know about this. Jong-in, watching the battle unfold, reflected on how Jinwoo's power continued to grow, finding it frightening. Yoon-ho then spoke to Jinwoo, suggesting that Jinwoo would likely take part in more battles from now on. While he acknowledged that Byung-goo's ability could be useful, he also requested that Jinwoo not use it in battle again, as Byung-goo disliked violence. Upon hearing this, Jinwoo stopped, removed Yoon-ho's hand from his shoulder, and told him, "This is the second time you've grabbed my shoulder, but this time, it was different." Yoon-ho had made a heartfelt request. With a smile, Jinwoo agreed with Yoon-ho's words. He approached Byung-goo's shadow and said, "Terminate extraction." Byung-goo's shadow, with a gentle expression, looked at him while Yoon-ho watched. Afterward, the shadow disappeared, and Yoon-ho looked relieved. The other hunters also watched the moment, as though bidding farewell to Byung-goo. The scene shifted outside the tunnel, where a helicopter arrived to pick up the hunters. As the S-rank hunters, along with the cameramen, emerged from the tunnel, Yoon-ho was seen carrying Byung-goo's body while Dong-wook carried a recovering Hye-in. As they approached the helicopter, Jinwoo told Yoon-ho that he would stay behind for a while, as he had some unfinished business to take care of. Yoon-ho agreed, understanding that the raid was not yet over, especially with the large number of flying ants overhead. Jinwoo then told Yoon-ho that he would clear the path and deal with the remaining ants. Jinwoo summoned his shadow, Kaizel, and told Yoon-ho, "See you later." Yoon-ho was shocked by the size of Jinwoo's shadow as they prepared to fly off. with Kaizel letting out a powerful roar as they ascended toward the ants. The scene changed to a ship carrying the remaining Japanese hunters, including Sugimoto. Hoshino was still in shock from the powerful ant that had killed Ryuji and the others. He referred to the ant as a monster and warned the others that they wouldn't understand unless they witnessed the beast's power firsthand. He expressed doubt that they could win, declaring the raid a failure, as no hunter could possibly defeat the beast. Sugimoto told him to stop worrying, revealing that the raid on Jeju Island was already over and the beast had been defeated. Hoshino was shocked, unable to believe it, but Sugimoto assured him that the information came from South Korean headquarters and was likely true. Suddenly, a crew member announced that the ants were dispersing. Sugimoto responded, saying that there were still some left, and ordered all units to prepare for battle as multiple ships readied for the remaining ants' assault. Back inside the tunnel, Jinwoo's shadow army was clearing out the remaining ants, while his mages cast fireballs to destroy the unhatched ant eggs. Jinwoo noticed that he was gaining experience points from destroying the unhatched ants and thought to himself, "What a lucky bonus." As he checked his inventory, Jinwoo realized he needed to organize his items one of these days. He noticed an item he had forgotten about, a massive sword, the Demon King's long sword, which he had obtained after defeating Baron. The sword had plus 350 attack stats and a second effect called Storm of White Flames, which summoned a small lightning storm in a specific area. Jinwoo decided to give it a try. He swung the sword, creating lightning storms that struck the ant eggs. Impressed by its power, Jinwoo muttered to himself, "It'd be a waste to keep such a powerful item in my inventory." He resolved to use it to destroy the remaining eggs. The scene shifted to a house where two men were watching a live broadcast of the raid. One of the men standing asked the seated man, "Mr. Brennan, what do you think of Jinwoo?" Mr. Brennan, introduced as the director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters, responded that he'd been watching the videos and hadn't realized how late it had gotten. He turned to the man standing, Michael Connor, and said, "You already know my answer. Isn't that why you came to my house at this ungodly hour?" Michael explained that Jinwoo could summon hundreds of beasts and was truly one of a kind. He adds that it would be a shame to let such talent go to waste, as South Korea is too small for him. Mr. Brennan agrees and asks if Michael knows anything else about Jinwoo. Michael places a file on the table, revealing that it contains information about an explosion at the Bureau a few months ago, known as the Sung Il-hwan incident. Michael explains that Sung Il-hwan was captured alive inside an A-rank gate on the East Coast by an A-rank hunter named James. Initially unsure if he was human or a magic beast, Sung Il-hwan claimed to be a hunter from South Korea. The Bureau's file on him still exists, but it turns out that Sung Il-hwan is the father of Sung Jinwoo. Michael suggests that now is the perfect opportunity, as Jinwoo's name has not yet reached the international stage. Mr. Brennan pauses and then responds, saying they can't do what they did with Hwang Dong-soo because South Korea has long been an ally of the United States, and taking another S-rank hunter away would be a slap in the face. Michael presses him, asking if Jinwoo isn't worth the risk. Mr. Brennan reflects on the footage of Jinwoo's strength and then asks Michael if he's sure he can handle it. Michael confidently responds that he will give it his best shot. The scene shifts back to the tunnel, where Jinwoo's system notifies him that he has leveled up. He reaches level 100 and reflects on how he's finally reached this milestone while holding the longsword. He decides to keep the sword, saying, "Finally." Jinwoo approaches the powerful ant beast's body and muses that this particular one seems unusually troublesome. He prepares to extract its shadow and says, "Arise." But suddenly he wonders why everything has gone dark, and he doesn't feel anything. He wonders if it's because he tried to extract the shadow or if the extraction failed. Then a voice calls out from behind him, "I'm back." Jinwoo turns around and sees the system notification confirming that the extraction was successful. The ant beast's shadow appears before him. For a moment, Jinwoo thought he had failed, but now he smiles as he faces the powerful beast. The shadow of the ant beast exudes a strong aura, and Jinwoo's system confirms that it is rank general. The shadow kneels before Jinwoo. Upon seeing it, he notices its rank and wonders about it, as he has never encountered a general rank before. So far, the ranks of his shadows have been Standard, Elite, Knight, and Elite Knight, making Jinwoo think that the rank of general could be the next step above. This means that the shadow of the ant beast is the strongest soldier he has extracted so far. However, despite this realization, Jinwoo is not entirely surprised, given how powerful the ant beast was when it was alive. Afterward, Jinwoo decides that it is time to extract the shadow of the ant queen. However, before he proceeds, the shadow of the ant beast speaks, calling him "my king" and asking for a name. Jinwoo thinks to himself that this unconditional loyalty, which he has seen in his other shadow soldiers, is also present in this one. Jinwoo then asks how the ant beast is able to speak. The ant beast responds saying, "I always could." Upon hearing this, Jinwoo suspects that the ant beast may have had the ability to speak before becoming a shadow soldier. He briefly questions if that's truly what the ant beast means, but his mind races back to his other soldiers. Iron, who was once human, but could not speak after becoming a shadow, as well as Min Byung-gu and Tusk. The only difference Jinwoo realizes is their rank. Perhaps those of a higher rank, like the ant beast, could still retain their ability to speak. Jinwoo then tells the ant that he is the one who killed it and asks, "Do you still wish to follow my lead?" The ant beast answers, "I was not killed by you. Rather, it was through your powers that I was reborn, Master." It continues by expressing that happiness overflows within it and that it will follow Jinwoo for all eternity. It repeats the words, "my king," while kneeling before him and asks Jinwoo to bestow a name upon it. Jinwoo reflects for a moment, deciding that it would be strange to name it something like ant or bug. He realizes that the name should set it apart from the other ants. Suddenly, he remembers the name of an author from a written novel titled The Ants. He names the ant beast Beru. Beru thanks Jinwoo, and the system displays his name as it registers. After this, Jinwoo returns to the ant queen to extract her shadow. He speaks the word "arise," and the shadow of the ant queen is successfully extracted. However, as soon as this happens, the other ants who had become Jinwoo's soldiers after their death appear to be alerted, and Jinwoo notices that his bond with them has weakened. He then asks Beru to explain what is happening. Beru explains that the queen had an inherent power to rule over her colony, and as long as she was alive, she had the right to command the ants. Jinwoo, somewhat surprised, realizes that the queen was the leader of the colony, and her death is causing the ants to lose their cohesion. Jinwoo is also puzzled by the queen's low mana given her rank. He asks Beru why her mana is so low, and Beru explains that the queen's mana was primarily used for reproduction. Now that she no longer has a body to reproduce with, her mana has diminished. Jinwoo concludes that the queen is not suited for battle and decides to terminate the extraction of her shadow, saying there is no need for two commanders. Jinwoo then addresses his soldiers, telling them there is no need to collect any more essence stones. The stones will instead be used to reconstruct the infrastructure of Jeju Island and compensate for the damages. He instructs his soldiers not to keep any for themselves, and they obey by discarding the crystals. Jinwoo reflects that the essence stone he acquired from Beru is more than enough. As he stares at the black stone, he realizes that the most pressing matter is how to handle the remaining ants. He wonders if he will be able to wipe them out using his current troop. Before Jinwoo can finish his thought, Beru speaks again and informs him that the enemies are struggling to navigate in the sky without a leader. They are unable to maintain their formation and are scattering in confusion. Upon hearing this, Jinwoo asks Beru how many ants remain. Beru responds that there were 8,700 ants before the attack today, and approximately 4,000 survived. Jinwoo thought he had wiped out the entire group in the earlier battle, but now he realizes that there are still many left. He asks Beru if he can wipe out the remaining ants on his own. Beru, radiating a powerful aura, responds, "If you give me an order, Master." The scene shifts to the defense team, where the Knights Guild, led by Jiangsu and Yuntai, is stationed. Jiangsu spots the incoming ants and immediately warns his team to prepare for battle. Projectiles are launched from destroyers, and mages cast powerful energy blasts at the ants. The forces combine in a joint assault to take down the ants. The scene transitions to Gina, who announces that the ants are heading northward and are about to collide head-on with the Knights Guild. Ki-hoon, the leader of the Hunters Guild, orders his members to prepare for battle as the massive swarm of ants approaches. In the Fiend Guild, the Vice Guild Master orders all hunters to prepare for battle, and one of her subordinates shouts, "Slaughter every ant in sight." Meanwhile, in the Fiend Guild, a hunter remarks that the ants are as strong as B-rank creatures. He orders his team to get into battle positions, warning them that straying from formation could result in death. He adds that they must reclaim the Fiend Guild's honor. However, one of their members, Min Sung, trembles in fear, unsure of how they will fight such powerful ants. Another guild member notices Min Sung's fear and thinks to himself that, despite Min Sung being a rank, he is a total wuss. The scene shifts once again to Ju Hee and Mr. Song, who are at the location where the ants have reached the shores of Hounding. Ju Hee wonders aloud if they are strong enough to fight the ants. Just then, a fast-moving beast appears and slashes through the ants approaching them, destroying them in a single strike. Ju Hee is shocked and asks Mr. Song what kind of beast that was. Mr. Song, equally stunned, replies, "What incredible speed! I can't make out what it is." The beast is Jin Woo's Shadow General Beru, leaving a trail of destruction behind it. The hunters are left bewildered, unsure of the identity of the beast. The scene shifts to the map of South Korea, showing the locations of each guild. The efforts to exterminate the ants have lasted for 2 days in the southern region of South Korea. The ants have also been spotted in Chinese waters, with ships positioned along the coast of China. The captain, observing the situation, expresses disbelief that the ants have already reached China. He mentions that they haven't been able to sleep for 2 days. One of the crew members speaks up, noting that the second wave of ants is now within their shooting range. Another man behind him comments, "Orders to fire must be..." But the captain interrupts, saying, "Hold on. It seems our hero wants to handle this on his own." We then see a man with 2 swords on his back standing atop a swarm of ants. He says, "They just keep coming," before declaring that he will sink every last one of them to the depths of the ocean. With a powerful aura emanating from him, he unsheaths his swords and swings them. The slash creates a massive wave that sweeps through the ants. As the ants are struck, multiple explosions occur, obliterating them. The man scoffs, saying that the ants are weak, and if this was the same ant that battled Sung Jin Woo, he would have had more fun. He then puts his swords away, lamenting, "What a shame," as the corpses of the ants fall into the sea. The scene transitions to the United States, where a woman is questioning a man sitting across from her about his opinion on Jin Woo. They are watching the battle unfold on a screen. The woman mentions that Mr. Huang and Sung Jin Woo are connected by a past incident, and there is a possibility that Mr. Huang's older brother was murdered by Jin Woo, which has led Huang to seek revenge. The man, identified as Thomas Andre, the guildmaster of the Scavenger Guild, responds, asking, "Is that what their relationship boils down to?" He then adds that, given everything that has happened, it would be difficult to meet Jin Woo now, which is a shame because he was looking forward to meeting him in person. The woman, Laura, asks Thomas what he would do if they got into a fight with Jin Woo. Thomas responds with a menacing tone, stating that Huang is property of the Scavenger Guild, and the guild belongs to him. He warns that no one can mess with his property, not even the US government, as he crushes the remote in his hand. The scene shifts to Jeju Island, where the Knights Guild, led by their guildmaster Jang Soo, is preparing for the 3rd night of their raid. As they enter a tunnel, Jang Soo, while smoking a cigarette, begins to tell a story about a man who had no luck. Yoon-tae, confused, asks, "Sorry?" Jang Soo explains that the man always tried to be the best at what he did, dreaming of becoming a gold medalist. He trained hard, followed a strict diet, passed the doping test, and even had a good dream the night before, adding that he was in top condition. However, during a manometer evaluation, it was revealed that he was an awakened being, which disqualified him from competing in the Olympics. Yoon-tae then says, "Oh, is this story about you?" as Jang Soo cries. They continue walking through the tunnel when suddenly they spot top-quality essence stones. Jang Soo, excited by the discovery, says, "With these, creating the best guild in the country will be..." But before he can finish his sentence, a female hunter warns them not to commit embezzlement. They continue walking, confident that the area is clear. Despite not sensing any mana, they relax. Just as they begin to feel at ease, an ant suddenly peeks out from a dark corner of the tunnel. Jang Soo swiftly slices off its head, remarking, "Oops, one of them was hiding." He then reassures his comrades, saying there's no need to worry since there are only a few stragglers left, and they are there to protect. Suddenly, Yunte calls out to Jiangsu, but the latter doesn't turn to face him. The soldiers, noticing something, ask, "Who goes there?" A powerful figure clad in animal hide armor approaches them, radiating a formidable presence. Jiangsu, recognizing that only soldiers and agents from the association should be on the island, asks the figure who he is. The hunters wonder if the figure is human, and the female hunter cautions them not to open fire. The man speaks in an unintelligible language while staring at them, revealing his sharp teeth and yellow eyes. Jiangsu, bewildered, wonders if the language the man spoke was that of beasts. His face shows fear. Suddenly a finger snaps, and all the hunters and soldiers inside the tunnel lose consciousness. The beast-like man looks at one of his companions who had snapped his fingers and asks, "What do you think you're doing?" His companion, a man with white hair and blue skin, answers that there's no need to cause a commotion, as he merely put them to sleep for the time being. A conversation follows with the white-haired figure asking his companion if he has checked their surroundings. He confirms, saying, "Yes, I'm positive it was his power." The white-haired man remarks on how odd it is that he's helping these humans. The beast-like man shrugs and says, "Who knows what's going on inside that head of his? If you're curious, why don't you go and ask him yourself?" He also comments that this place reeks of rotting ants. He adds, "Just imagine if that woman had witnessed this. She would have had a fit." The white-haired figure then says that their hunt will continue as scheduled, and nothing will change. The other man agrees as the white-haired man creates a blue gate similar to a dungeon gate. The beast-like man says he thinks one of them is here. The white-haired figure asks, "Here in South Korea?" The other replies, "How about we take care of them before we go?" But the white-haired figure simply replies, "Let's just leave the place in his hands." The beast-like man steps through a red gate, vanishing quickly. That wraps up this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and see you next time.